Hey guys, it's Arx here and welcome back to my channel. We are finally back with another Switch review, and today let's all take a look and listen at the Budgerigar Tactile Switches by Epomaker. I believe this may be their first switches in the market, and as you know, Epomaker is a keyboard vendor and has their own line of keyboards. A quick background about the Switch. So the name was inspired by a bird, and they decided to also create the switches inspired by its color. These tactile switches comes in a box that contains 30 pieces for $13, and it's a 5-pin switch that comes in pre-factory lube, and I'm very much excited for you guys to hear how they perform out of the box. By the way, the switches was sent for a review by Epomaker, but I wasn't paid to make the video and they didn't see the final script. So of course, I'll give you guys my honest and unbiased opinion about the Switch. I'll go ahead and put all of their links on the description down below. So in today's video, it's going to be the usual, but there will be no stock versus lube comparison. As mentioned, this came in pre-factory lubed already, but there will be a sound comparison versus the other linear switches. And of course, a short material breakdown. And if you all want to hear my thoughts and opinion about the Switch, please do stick around at the end of the sound test, or feel free to check the timestamps. Speaking of sound tests, a quick disclaimer before we start. That the sound and experience will vary depending on your keyboard build, meaning to say that it will sound and feel different on your board. We of course be using the Vega 65 with a polycarbonate plates, a PCB to plate foam, and one case foam. The keycaps that was used is a Domikey set, and the switches already came in pre-factory lubed. So with all of that out of the way, please do enjoy the sound test on the Budgerigar Tactile Switch. So that was the sound test on the Budgerigar Tactile Switch, and please do let me know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and also please do let me know on what you think about the switches on the comment section down below, and let's have some quick discussions. As you know, I really love replying to your comments, so I'll see you guys on the comments. Before we head on to my thoughts and opinion about the Switch, let's go ahead and break down the materials that was used on the Switch. As you can see, these are a 5-pin switch and is using an MX style housing with a dust-proof stem. The top and bottom housing is nylon. The stem is of course made out of palm. And we have the springs that has a 60-gram bottom out force. So that was a material breakdown on the Budgerigar Tactile switches, and if you made it up to this point of the video, I would like to say thank you for staying, and again reminding you that the sound and experience will vary depending on your keyboard build. Let's now talk about my thoughts and opinion about the Switch. Finally, let's now talk about my thoughts on the feel. Now, the stock pre-factory lube on the Switches are actually decent and has enough consistency to be used out of the box. And I'm honestly impressed considering that this is their first tactile Switch. As you know, I lube my Tactiles regardless if they are pre-factory lube, but for the Switches, I'll give it a pass. It didn't have any scratches as well, and I really don't find it necessary to add or apply more lube on them. Now let's talk about the tactility on the Switch. It has a really sharp early bump, and let me tell you that you can really feel the tactility on the Switches. Like, it's so pronounced whenever you type. Some may find it a bit harsh at first, but I can say that you can get used to it after using it for a day or two. The bottom out isn't that harsh, but it has a 60-gram bottom out force, which I can say really pairs up with the tactility. Again, you can really feel it early on. Now, the Switches have a really strong tactile bump, which is really interesting to see nowadays, as we see some Tactiles that are light or just on the mids in terms of the bump, but I'm not quite sure if everyone will like the tactility that these have. For me, they feel decent, but it'll take time to get used on the tactility if you are coming from light Tactiles. I can say that this feels a bit the same as the fantasy tactile Switches that we have tried before. Now let's move on to my thoughts on the sound. With the stock lube, it didn't sound all over the place and it didn't have that plastic raw feeling when typing. I can say that the sound, it's pretty aggressive or high pitched for a tactile Switch, and you can really hear the tactile when typing. I can say that somehow they sound like I'm shaking a can of spray paint when typing fast, but same as my thoughts on the feel, the sound would really vary depending on your preference. For me, as you know, I really like high pitched sounding Switches, so the sounds, it's really spot on. Overall, for the price tag, it's pretty decent for what it offers. $13 for a pack of 30, but for this tactile Switch, it will really vary depending on your preference. Again, for some, they might find the sound and feel a bit harsh, while some may find it spot on for their preferred tactile. I can say that if you want a tactile that's a bit different and wants to try a strong bump, I would say if you have the budget, I would recommend getting this, but I think that it'll take time before you can get used to it, especially if you are coming in from a light tactile. But yeah, again, preference is what makes this hobby enjoyable, and you can really try and explore many things. So yeah, that is it for the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed my review on the Budgerigar Tactile Switch by Epomaker, and I really hope that you find this helpful. If you do, you know the drill. Don't forget to hit the like button, as it really helps out my channel grow. And let's aim for the usual, the 50 likes. I know we can do it. And what's next? Well, we have two more switches from Epomaker. Both of them are linear switch, so please stay tuned for that. And we also have some Akko switches to try out before the year ends. Again, please don't forget to hit the like button, share if you want, and of course, subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys on the next sound test. Peace.